So if you're predicting a soft landing, you're going against decades of history. Could happen, anything's possible, but I don't think it's probable. Almost always guarantee if the economy looked great and bonds were rallying, that meant the economy was not going to look so great. We used to call it price action versus news. And it used to be an incredible indicator of security prices, partly because of the efficiency, partly because I think the growth of hedge funds, we all learned these rules, and partly because of central bank manipulation. Price versus news is a very weakened tool versus 20 years ago, much to my chagrin, because I always found it a great warning signal, and now a lot of times it may be warning of nothing or warning of something that doesn't exist. So that's been one thing I've had to adopt to. I mean, frankly, when I started in the business, I'm showing my age here, which was the mid 70s, I started in equities. And I also learned, particularly in bear markets, that I had to morph into bonds, into commodities, into foreign currencies, things like that. I mean, one of the most challenging things for me right now is, maybe it says something about my dysfunctional personality, but I've always made even higher returns in bear markets than bull markets. But the way I did it was just pretty much ignore equities, take them off the table, buy bonds, buy treasuries, and go home. Well, I've never been presented a cocktail where you have 8% inflation, you think the economy might weaken, and bond yields 3%. It's an analog with no precedent in history.
的钱是多过在牛市赚到的钱。道理其实很简单，在牛市的时候，大家都在 FOMO， 害怕上不到车，就导致不断去追高，然后在最后一波直接被套在山顶上。也就是说，牛市的阶段，在短期赚钱是很快的，但是长期赔钱的比例会高很多。而在熊市的时候入场，通常在短期是不赚钱的，甚至 paper loss 赔了不少。但是长期来看，赚钱的几率是高很多的。道理是很简单，只不过大家都不去做而已。那这些就留给大家自己去思考了。
Going back to your style, the other thing I found very interesting in how you work is this, your philosophy of put all your eggs in one basket and then watch this basket very carefully. And you've described how you just develop conviction 3 to 4 times a year and act based on that. And I'm curious if you could talk a little bit more about that, like the spidey sense going off, and you're clearly in a low conviction time right now, but I think that's just very stylistically interesting, where you even know how to size up and down your trades.
Yeah, it's completely contrary to what they teach in business school, which is if you're highly diversified, you have less risk than if you're highly concentrated. I don't believe that at all. As an investor, when I think most people get in the most trouble is when they have stale longs or stale shorts. When you've got 15, 20% of your asset base, or sometimes in macro positions, I'll have 200 or 300%. Believe me, they're not getting stale, and you have to have ruthless discipline, and you're coming in every day. Just to quote Andy Grove, you could not be more paranoid, and you're constantly reevaluating, and I think it leads to an open mind. So, yeah, I would also say, people ask me what I learned from George Soros. I thought when I went there, I was going to learn what made the yen and the Deutschmark go up and down and that kind of thing. No, what I learned was sizing is probably 70 to 80% of the equation. It's not whether you're right or wrong, it's how much you make when you're right and how much you lose when you're wrong. I've also found, as an investor, I believe in streaks. You see it in baseball, you see it in everything else. I see it in investing. Sometimes you're seeing the ball, sometimes you're not. One of my number one jobs is to know whether I'm hot or cold. And when I'm hot, I'm supposed to turn the dial way up, not say, okay, I'm up 40% this year, let's go, this will look good at the end of the year, go take a break. No, you got to make hay while you're hot. And then when you're cold, the last thing you should do is try and make big bets to get back to even. You should tone yourself down. So believe it or not, that's part of the all your eggs in one basket. Not only do I have to see the investment that really excites me, I also have to see myself sort of being in a good trading rhythm.